Because if you're messing around with a player's brain and neurology and neurologist, that's not really a knee. You're talking about a significant injury here. Okay? So, without further ado, my man, who is the co-host of Birds 365, holy cow, he's in a new studio. Wait till you see this thing and how he's put this thing together. Pre-game, halftime, post-game, post-host, our good friend, Big Z, Zander Krause. What are you doing, brother?
No audio? You got me?
I got you, brother.
What's going on, brother? How you doing?
All good, man. Any word on Hurts yet?
Yeah, Nick talked today. He said no update still. So still no update from Nick Sirianni on Jalen Hurts.
You know, John McMullen said that he probably won't hear anything until Wednesday. So John was saying Wednesday's probably when, if you're not hearing it on Wednesday, then you got a little nervous. Hey, with all this being said about Jalen, does it give you any caution here of what's happened here for the last 3 weeks, basically, on Jalen Hurts, that he hasn't been practicing with the team? And are you concerned about that heading into Green Bay?
You got to be a little bit, right? I mean, it's almost 3 weeks now, Big Sills. I mean, it's a long time to be out. But the caveat is every reporter is out there saying there's nothing to worry about. He's going to be fine. We see him. They're manipulating it, and you can't activate him until he practices. So there's no practice until Wednesday this week, which means he wouldn't be able to get out of the protocol until Wednesday. I do think it's a little bit long. Like, is this intentional this long? You know what I mean? I don't know if in being out this long was their intent, but this is where we're at. And I think he'll be good for the game. Obviously, I'm sure they'll get him through for the playoffs. I don't think the NFL is going to let it happen that he doesn't get out there. But yeah, it is a long time. I'll agree with you on that for sure.
I mean, were they going to play him anyway? No. But, gee, don't you want him taking reps? Don't you want him, like, staying sharp?
Right.
As you get ready for Green Bay? I mean, yeah. How do you feel about the team coming out? Look, the Giant game, you and I talked about it yesterday, was more of a developmental game for the backups. You saw some players that potentially could help the team in the postseason here, but that was more of a developmental game. But, I mean, how do you feel about the team heading into the playoffs against Green Bay, the team in general?
I feel pretty good. I mean, my main concerns right now are two things. It's Jalen Hurts and the time off and how that's going to affect him in game one. Remember, this is do or die now. This isn't like, let's see how Jalen looks the next couple of weeks. This is, you better show up in the game that we play or you're gone. You're out. And then the other concern I have is Jake Elliott. You just can't rely on him right now. It's his worst kicking percentage he's had since 2020. When, if fans remember that year, many people wanted him gone. Now, he did bounce back in 2021, so potentially he can bounce back from this, but he is not – I have no confidence in him right now. And when you get in the playoffs, man, points are a premium. So you're going to need Jake Elliott, and if he's not out there, kicking it with confidence and you don't have confidence, how much does that change Nick Sirianni's game plan? How much does that change, how the offensive coordinator decides to run plays in certain moments? I think there's a bigger ramification to that than you have in the regular season. And if Jake's not kicking with confidence, that's a problem. So those are my two biggest concerns. But overall, I feel pretty good, man. I watched that game last night. That Lions team, they've remained the number one team, in my opinion,
from week one
all year. Yep. And as much as I was giving Darnold some credit, I always knew, the Lions team is going to be the team we're going to have to beat. And I think you saw last night, that is going to be the team, Sills. That's going to be the team you have to beat. And they look pretty good, man. They get their 30 points. Jahmyr Gibbs is running like a man with his hair on fire. He's impressive. I really like that Amon-Ra St. Brown. And how about the job of Aaron Glenn with all those injuries on defense? And he just continues to deliver. Great performance again for that defense last night. So that's a good team. But outside of them, I don't think Green Bay's playing their best ball right now. I think you just saw that the lights could be too bright for Sam Darnold in the biggest moments. I like Washington, but with a rookie quarterback, how far are they going to go? And then the Buccaneers. Now, the interesting part about the Bucs is, in a way, the Bucs control our destiny if you're ready to look past round one. Now, I know you can't look past round one. We got to beat the Packers. But, if you want to start to think ahead, okay, what could happen for the Eagles? in the divisional round. Well, if the Bucs win and we win, we play the Bucs. There's no other. It doesn't matter who wins the Vikings game, who wins the Commanders game. The Commanders are playing the Bucs, but if we win and the Bucs win, we play the Bucs. Now, if the Bucs lose, that's where we could get into a couple scenarios where we could play the Rams, you could play the Vikings. A couple different things could go there. So the scenarios are interesting. But if Bucs win, we're facing the Bucs in Philly. Will we be able to exercise that demon, Big Cells?
Absolutely. 2 wins in a row for the Bucs and Baker Mayfield. I get a different look and a different opinion on Minnesota than you and John do. I think the best thing happened to them. They got exposed in a game where they get another shot at it.
Right.
And I heard Dan Campbell even say, I'll see you in 2 weeks. He knows they had a bad night. Now, I said on the pregame show and the postgame show, Sam Darnold, I went, I want to see it in the games that matter. However, I'm not going to indict 18 weeks of football and to sit there and go 60 minutes of football where those guys were terrible. I heard you say something that it was right. I mean, 3 red zone opportunities. If they capitalize on any of those red zone opportunities, it's a game. Now remember, Kevin O'Connell, he coached with Sean McVay. He's kind of been in the environment of being in the playoffs, so he gets it. Darnold is not. Many of those players have not. So to me, I think that was a learning experience. I think they'll be better the next game they get into when they have to go in and play a playoff game. I'm not going to throw dirt on a guy who played. I'm not going to indict a guy over 60 minutes of football for 18 weeks.
You're right. Yeah. I mean, look, that's why.
That's not going to happen for me. However, it does put a red flag up going, do you believe in that guy? And you're like, not really. Okay. But that guy's capable of pulling a rabbit out of his hat at any moment because he did all year. You know, that's where I'm at with Minnesota. They got a good team, dude. They got a good football team.
They do. That's why I put out a power ranking last night on Twitter of the 7 NFC playoff teams, and I still put the Vikings 3 because I couldn't look past the season that they had. As much as I wanted to usurp them with a couple teams, I kept the Vikings in there at 3, and I think they are still a threat. But I will say they're on upset watch. Do you agree?
Yes.
Going into that game versus the Rams, you know. The
Rams beat them earlier in the year, too.
And the best part about that game is the story of the coaching, right? Where you have apprentice versus the master. You know, O'Connell's a guy who came from that McVay tree. He's another one of those offensive, young-minded guys that the whole league loves and oohs and ahs over. So that's going to be a good game, man. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to seeing how that one goes.
Yeah, no question about it. I ranked the quarterbacks. I didn't really go after 7. I ranked the playoff quarterbacks. I went Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, Goff, Stafford, Mayfield, and Herbert. Then you could put the rest of those guys in there from 8 down. I mean, 29-03, I don't give a shit what anybody says. He's not impressive.
No, it's not.
And Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels have had good seasons too. So, I mean, those guys have played well. So, I mean, that's where, in my opinion, where Jalen falls right now in the playoffs. I mean, I don't know, 8, 9, somewhere in there where you're talking, because there's no doubt Mahomes right now is the guy. If someone will go, well, Mahomes didn't have a good year. Really? Well, I'll tell you what. You go against Mahomes in the playoffs, there's a reason why that guy is 14-2.
Yeah. 15-2. Well, he's 14-2. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
He was 15-1, actually. Carson Wentz had the other loss, which was, oh my goodness, what was that game? I was on the air for the post-game show. I mean, it's like, oh man, Carson Wentz not looking good.
Do you have a problem with that?
No, I don't have a problem with that. No. And I think the Chiefs, by the way, are still going to be favorites. I mean, do you think they're the favorite to win the Super Bowl right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think, quite frankly, I think they're the favorite to win the Super Bowl because of their defense.
Yeah, and they still have Andy. They still got Patrick. Like, that's the thing. With Patrick Mahomes, he can be insane at any moment. He can be a superstar at any moment, you know? So you don't go into a game expecting you to have expecting to play a pedestrian Patrick Mahomes. You're expecting greatness, you know, and you're expecting a guy that's won 3 Super Bowls. So they have the edge until proven otherwise. I think it's hard to say that they don't have the edge.
What'd you make of Tanner Manning yesterday?
He throws the ball, man. That's a different style of offense, but boy, he gets that ball out. You see a little things, a couple things here and there when you watch them. Maybe some passes aren't inaccurate, or a couple of them passes don't have a lot of zip on them. But overall, I thought he was really well. I mean, really good. He got a lot of guys involved in that game, man. You got to give him credit. It's one thing to look good when you're throwing to AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. It's another thing to look good when you're doing it with Jahan Dotson and Johnny Wilson. With backup offensive linemen and Will Shipley and Kenny Gainwell. So I thought he did a really nice job. And look, I'm not going there yet. All right. Everybody can pump the brakes. I'm not going there yet at all. But if this team gets bounced early in the playoffs, you bet your bottom dollar that every single person, rightfully so, will question, whether Jalen Hurts is the right quarterback to lead this football team. You just watched Tanner McKee do that with backups. Is it fair to at least wonder what could he do with all the starters in, with the weeks of prep? I think it's fair to wonder that. I'm not saying we'd be better off with McKee. I'm not going down that road. I'm just saying this team, the pressure's on. Jalen Hurts has to get it done because this team wasn't built to win 14 games, as great as that is. You heard Jeffrey Lurie in the locker room. If any of you guys watched that clip, they gave Jeffrey Lurie a game ball for his 300th win of the franchise. The first thing he said is, job's not finished. We're just getting started. We're going for a Super Bowl. So that's the expectation in the room. That's what the expectation should be. And if they don't reach it, I would expect a lot of talk to be talked about everything from coach to quarterback to coordinator, you name it. It'll be talked about.
I'll ask you that question. And I asked both Marcus and Gary Cobb this one. Who do you think has the most pressure heading into the playoffs, Nick or Jalen?
Yeah, I think the default answer is Nick, because Jalen's locked in. He's locked in.
I'll tell you, my perception will. How about this? Let's ask it this way: will the perception change of Nick and Jalen if they get bounced?
I think probably, because I think they're viewed differently. Like Josh Allen gets knocked out every year. Does the perception change of him? No.
Not when you get beat by Mahomes. No. When you get beat by Mahomes, no, it doesn't. I don't change my opinion on that.
But I also think it's deeper than that. I think there's a innate talent that Josh Allen has that will make people always believe in him. And I think it's fair. I think he is that good of a player. I think he has that level of talent. I think with Jalen, he's one of those guys that's, he's a controversial player. Like a lot of people love him. A lot of people don't like him. People question, what his meaning is to the team. Is the wins because of him? He's kind of like Nick Sirianni in that way, where you can't deny the success, but you wonder why it doesn't look like other people, or why it doesn't look like other guys who are great in that in that role. And
you think they're connected,
Nick and Jalen? Well, I think naturally. I mean, I think that's where I think Marcus was wrong earlier, where Howie is the most important guy on this team.
I agree. I agree.
He is, because he's the one who's given them this roster, and I think he's a big part of the reason that Nick Sirianni has the record he has, and Jalen Hurts has the record he has. So, I'm looking forward to it, man. This is going to be a lot of fun this postseason, Big Sills.
Absolutely, man. Vic Fangio, dude, Jesus criminy. Orrin Burks gets put in there. He makes 17 tackles. He puts Trotter in there. He makes 11 tackles. Dude, this guy has been incredible this year in player development.
Yeah.
I mean, he has been the MVP in the coaching staff. Without a doubt, he has been the most valuable.
You think he's going to get assistant of the year? I'm thinking.
Yes, I do.
It might be Ben, man. It might be Ben Johnson.
For that offense, because the league loves offense.
League loves offense, and that offense is freaking good. I don't care.
You think Howie gets general manager of the year? They vote on it before the playoffs. So the votes go in. They announce it.
So the votes are going in. They're already in, technically.
Yes.
Let's see. Is Brad Holmes a good option there?
Yes.
Who's it between is what I'm asking. It's between Howie, Brad,
Nick Caserio,
Brad Veach, always. Nick Caserio, I don't think so. He's in Texas. He's in
in Houston. That's right. I met Eric DeCosta.
In where? Where's he?
Baltimore.
Oh, Baltimore. Yeah. No. Yeah, their team didn't quite achieve.
Flowers, and then signing Derrick Henry and drafting Kyle Hamilton. I mean, he's okay. Him, Eric DeCosta in Baltimore, Veach in Kansas City, Howie in Philly, Holmes in Detroit. I'll tell you what, the general manager, it skips my mind, in Minnesota should be in that conversation. If I had to pick a general manager,
Wait, in Minnesota, who's that? Quezi Adolfo Mensa?
yeah,
That's his name, I think. Yeah, he's done good.
If I had to pick a general manager, it would probably be Brad Holmes in Detroit.
Too. I think Brad Holmes. Did Howie get it last year? No, right?
Year before
he got it in 22. Who got it last year? It might have been Holmes.
It might have either been Holmes. Yeah, Holmes or Veach. I forget who won that thing last
Which would
year.
probably change whether Holmes would win it again. If you give me a second, I can look it up.
Yeah, if I'm not, because Howie won it in the Super Bowl year. He won that in the Super Bowl year. He won General Manager of the Year, Sporting News General Manager of the Year.
Last year it was Holmes. No, 22 was Brandon Beane. 21 was Duke Tobin. Yeah, Howie hasn't won since 2017.
Huh.
You're talking about the Sporting News one?
Yeah, I could have swore he won
Yeah, it might be Howie this year.
Pull up his Wikipedia if you can. See what he did there, man. Because I thought he won. I thought he won General Manager of the Year in 22. Because there's a couple. There's an AP one too.
Yeah, that it might be on one of those. The Sporting News Executive of the Year, though, 22 is Beane. Okay,
from Buffalo.
Yep, and he won it. He won it also in 2020, so he's won 2 in the last. And then last year was Brad Holmes. So Howie could get it this year. You know, with some of those signings. I think you know what I think Howie will get it for. Obviously, it should be Zach, but it will be Saquon, because how many headlines and storylines has Saquon Barkley gotten this year? And I think that, you know, that's one of those signings that push you to the top, obviously, for it. So we'll see how it plays out. But I don't really give a shit. Do you?
No, I don't really care about that. Yeah. Unless again, too, there's like incentives. Here's one right here. Oh, I see. The Pro Football Writers Association Executive of the Year 17 and 2022. So he won the Football Writers Association General Manager of the Year, the Pro Football Writers. I think that's the one John McMullen writes for, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's what most of the writers are a member of, the PFWA or whatever it's called.
Yep. I think that's what John's involved with. Let's get to some of these supers, brother.
Let's do it. You like my little setup? I started working on this.
Man. I'm digging it.
Yeah, yes. I'm still figuring everything out. I don't know if the people in the chat give me any feedback on it. I literally started doing it and at 1:00 before your show. So I've only been doing it for a little bit, but I'm gonna try and improve it and upgrade, put some more stuff on the wall. I had to throw the picture back there is Jalen versus Green Bay. So I saw that and I'm like, we got the Green Bay playoff game. So let's put that up there. So that's what I did. I don't know how that's
thumbs up. Where do those thumbs up come from?
I don't know, because they were doing it to what's his name. See, if you hold the thumbs up, and I think if you go like this, does it rain? There's a couple different ones. I don't know what the hell they're. I don't know where they came from.
How come I can't do that?
You can do it.
I'm doing it. How come I can't do it? Only you can do it. It's on your
because I'm a legend and you're not.
Oh,
Big Sills cakes. Oh no, it's not working anymore.
Yeah, somebody turned
Leon
it
Banks checks in. What's up, Leon? He says,
Thank you, Leon.
If Bucks win, which they will, we will play the Bucks and we'll have a rematch of Lions Vikings. I'll be honest, Vikings ain't going to get blown out again. They could win that rematch. Hard to beat a team 3 times. I don't agree. I don't think the Vikings are anywhere near the Detroit Lions. I really don't. I'm sorry.
I agree with you, Leon.
I think the Lions are far and away the best team in the NFC right now. Eagles, I have number 2, but I'll be honest with yourself. The Detroit Lions, in a way, are everything that the Eagles want to be. They're aggressive.
Yes.
They punch you in the mouth. They don't back down from anybody. They don't care about who gets injured. They don't care about anything. All they care about is being the more physical football team, out coaching you, out scheming you, out being more aggressive than you. They are an in-your-face football team. How many times last night did you watch the Lions make Kevin O'Connell make a bad decision?
Yeah, no, I
made him do it over and over again.
I saw that, but I watched the New York Giants get the shit pushed in by the New England Patriots, and then they turn around 4 weeks later and beat them in the Super Bowl because they had seen things that they were going to approach them with, and they learned from that ass beating, and they turned around with a 10-6 football team and won the Super Bowl against a 16-0 football team. I'm just saying, especially when you have common opponent. Zander, I wouldn't throw sand on Minnesota right now and saying that they can't do things in advance. They can. I mean, I think people are blown away last night because I'll tell you what, I was surprised that they got thrown away last night. I was pretty shocked, but then I wasn't, because that's Detroit's mentality. I mean, they coach and they play like they embody their head coach's personality.
Absolutely.
The Eagles do not embody the coach's personality. You know who they embody? The owner's personality. Cautious.
Abe says, pass. That's all it was. Abe, I don't really care what it was. It works. And it works to the tune of 30.
Why you run. What do you care?
Abe, 34 points a game, man. They're the number one scoring offense in the NFL. 17 weeks we've had 17 times they've gone up against an opponent that has a crack at them to stop it. I mean, they're pretty good, man. They're pretty good. Like, I think they deserve some credit. I'm not saying we can't beat them in a game, but right now I have them as the best team in the NFC. Abe says, hope the Eagles coaches and players saw what I saw in Sewell. When it's a run play, his stance is having his legs closed, and when pass stance is one leg out. Interesting. That's good tidbit there, Abe. Good pickup by you.
Yeah, those are tendencies that guys have. Some guys lean forward. Some guys create more space in their gaps. That's a interesting way for a fan like yourself to look at the game, because if you're a defensive tackle or a coordinator, you're always looking for splits, tight splits, big splits. If you see a guy sitting back, is it going to be a counter tray? Is it going to be a trap? Is it going to be a wham play? Everything remember here, I try to show people this all the time, Zander. When an offensive tackle blocks away, your first reaction, normally what a lot of people would do is they would go away. Mine is, and all NFL guys and all experienced guys, when a guy steps that way, look back inside, because you're going to get crushed. Because someone's coming this way. Always read your techniques. And I think that technique that they have in Detroit, they do a lot of zone blocking. They're really good with what they do. And there's no doubt the two best offensive lines, if they make it to the NFC title game, will be Detroit and Philly.
All right. Brian Pumper checks in. He says, Sills, what you think it was, money or woman? These dudes were inseparable in 22. Kind of worrisome. AJ looks like he likes Tanner a lot.
What do you make of that, of the relationship between AJ and Hurts?
I mean, I don't really care as long as they can produce on the field, T.O. and McNabb hated each other. How many times has that happened? It doesn't.
Brady and Belichick.
I think it might have a chance to have a bigger meaning in Philly because they had a friendship before. Like, it's one thing to not be friends with somebody that you're a new teammate with. It's another thing to be best friends with somebody, name them the godfather of your kids, and then not have a falling out. That's a little bit different, but I don't know. I don't put much stock into it. If they don't produce on the field, I'll care a lot more about that. Alex Petrosky says, how about the Storm and Mormon? That's a good one.
The Mormon missile. How you doing? You see that guy flick that ball around? He just needs more. People are going like this. Sills, do you think Jalen Hurts? And Pumper, my boy, I love you, man. But, dude, that guy's not ready yet. He's a green apple on a tree. He needs more reps. He needs more work. He needs more reps on being able to get out in the perimeter. But what you see is there is a lot of promise there. I think he processes the game well. I think he reads his progressions well. I think he does a lot of things superior to what Hurts does in the pocket. He's got better pocket presence. Yeah, he knows, don't step up, kid. You stepped into 2 sacks. You got to have more patience in there a little bit. But again, Zander, he's got to learn front door, back door, and he's got to learn how to get out of that in situations where, again, his athleticism, he doesn't have a lot of it. So what does he have to do? He's got to have great feet. And he's got to have great pocket presence. I think him being 6'6" was also an evident factor in that game.
I've been talking about that all year, and John and so many people tell me I'm stupid to think
you're
about
not
that.
Stupid.
Jalen Hurts,
you have to create.
I met Jalen Hurts. The first thing I said to myself when I met Jalen Hurts in person was, "Wow, he's shorter than I thought." I'm 5'11" ish, right in there. I'm just under 6 foot. I was right there with Jalen Hurts. I was right next to him. I mean, he was eye to eye with me, basically. I was like, whoa, he's short. He's short. He's not a tall dude.
Listen what Drew Brees and what Russell Wilson and those guys.
Those are your two models, right?
Those are the 2 6-foot guys. Do you know what they had to do? And Roethlisberger kind of was a guy that gave him the insight in this. And Ben's 6'6". And you know what he said? He goes, for me to create good passing lanes, I've got to slide my feet.
Right.
Hurts doesn't do that. He always slides right and runs right.
Well, Hurts
instead of sliding his feet, he's not creating passing lanes. And I think that's why he holds on to the ball too long.
Well, Hurts has never been footwork has never been his strong suit. It's never been his thing. So that's McKee a learning curve for sure. I think it's one of the reasons he gets out of the pocket so quick.
McKee has good feet. You can see him in the pocket.
Yeah, he looked pretty good under pressure yesterday.
Hey, the key when I say good feet doesn't have anything to do with speed. It's got everything to do with bouncing around on your toes the way Manny did in the pocket and the same way Brady did. If you ever go back and watch any of the tapes of Peyton Manning, watch his feet always moving. His feet is always moving, and then he sets it. Okay? Hurts does none of that. He's a drifter.
Yeah, no, he is. You're right. Did you get these? We're back to 3:30 now.
No, I didn't get this.
Sills, Hurts don't work on his craft no more. He only cares about eating crawfish.
How you doing? I didn't get that one.
No. Love eating crawfish. That is very much true.
No, okay. A Pumper. I don't think any of that. I think Jalen, he's just like Zander said, he's a different dude, man. I mean, there's a part of me that doesn't like his personality. There's a part of me that likes his personality. There's a part of me that, I mean, I don't know, man. I watch other quarterbacks like Kenny Pickett. I mean, look, what you make of the way Tanner McKee made Jahan Dotson look good?
Yeah.
Dotson had 12 catches the whole year. He had 7 yesterday.
Yeah, well, like you point out at the beginning of the show, it is a different role. So it's hard to completely compare the two that easily. But I think what it showed you is that if you needed Dotson to be, maybe it showed Jalen hopefully Jalen watched the game. He was like, hey, man, I should be able to trust this guy a little bit more. Maybe I can throw him the ball. Because Jalen doesn't spread the ball around. It's one of his Achilles heels. Tanner McKee had like 6 or 7 or 8 different receivers involved in that game yesterday, and they're all scrubs. I mean, EJ Jenkins caught his first NFL catch that was a touchdown. Anais Smith had a touchdown. Johnny Wilson had some catches. Jahan Dotson obviously was out there. I mean, he was spreading the ball around. But again, I don't want to get too wrapped up in it. I think at this point, Sills, I'm in playoff mode. Like, if this team gets bounced, I'm ready for every conversation we want to have about the Eagles. Until that point, I got faith in them. I think they're going to get far, but they better bring their damn A game because there's no easy matchups in the playoffs now.
Last one here for you. Do you feel better about going into this playoff than you did in 22?
No, 22, I felt like we were going to the Super Bowl. I remember covering it. I remember covering it, and I wasn't on the air.
Why do you feel different?
I was just producing. I mean, this team feels special. I'll say that, but that team felt different, man. That team was rare form, and I think the excitement of Jalen's first year taking off. I think there was a newness about it that excited Philadelphia coming off of Carson Wentz and being able to turn. Like, imagine if we didn't draft Jalen Hurts in the second round. What would we have done? I mean, Carson Wentz, I think, was turning into a pumpkin already, inevitably, with or without Jalen Hurts, and we had a backup plan, and it worked out. And I think the newness of it made it so exciting. And he passed the ball well that year, man. If you remember, we didn't go into the playoffs with the type of questions we're going into the playoffs with now this year.
No, the only question we went into the playoffs with that year was his health.
Well, his health, and he didn't have much playoff experience. The only playoff experience he had, he got bounced by Tom Brady. Yeah. So we went in with that. But the other positive about the 22 playoff Sills is you played the Giants in the remember, you had the bye. Then you had Giants in the divisional. You blew them out, and Jalen didn't really have to do much in that game. And then you had San Francisco, and you knocked Purdy out of the game, and Josh Johnson out of the game. So you didn't really have a hard road to the Super Bowl. Now, granted, Jalen did play his best game in the Super Bowl, so he deserves some credit for that. But he's got a harder road this year. I mean, if you have let's just say Packers, Bucks, Lions, It's tough.
And then
It's tough.
Mahomes.
And then you'd probably have Mahomes or I think Josh Allen. I think people are a little bit asleep at the Bills on the Bills. I think it's gonna
Hurts can play 4 games in a row? Because we bring it up all the time.
I don't think he'll have to. I don't think he'll have
So
to.
you think you can just lean in the playoffs?
No, I'm not saying that. I think he's going to have to win us one of those games. I think he needs to have a Super Bowl level performance in one of those games. But I think the talent on the roster, I think Saquon, I think the number one defense, I think those factors are good for a couple wins too. If you can limit Jordan Love a little bit, Jalen probably doesn't need to play like a superstar to win this weekend. Josh Allen on the other hand. They're playing Bo Nix in Denver, and I still think the guy's got to play like a superstar to win the game. That's just a team. So
how about this, dude? If Barkley goes for 145 yards this weekend, and if I'm not mistaken, I think defensively that Green Bay against the rush is 6th. There's 6 in the NFL against the rush. So let's just say he does get 145. Hurts throws for 150 and has a touchdown and a pick. You think that's good enough to win it?
150 and a pick? No.
Well, wait a minute. That's what he averages. He averages about 165, 170.
Is that what he averages?
Well, dude, yeah. The offense averages itself 180. He doesn't average any more than that.
What, 14 games?
Okay, 14 games. You don't want to put that extra one in there.
Like 4 passing plays, dude.
Okay. 14 games. The Eagle offense, they're 30th, and they're averaging 100. And let me see.
And he's not averaging a pick.
No, I didn't say that. I said he's averaging in passing. They're averaging 176. They're averaging 164. No, 183. They're averaging 183 yards passing a game, or what the Eagles averaging. So if Jalen Hurts goes for 180 yards passing, a touchdown and a pick, and Barkley goes for 145, you think that's good enough to beat Green Bay?
No, I don't. I think this game's going to come down to what team gets their passing game going. Because remember, both teams in this game are going to want to run. Green Bay's become relying on Josh Jacobs a lot, and Jordan Love has been streaky all year. Now, the thing about Jordan Love is when he plays well, he really plays well.
He's streaky.
He's streaky, though. Very streaky. When he plays bad, it looks like he's going to throw an interception right into your hand. So I think the team that throws the ball better in this game will win, because I think both teams are going to be able to run well. I do. I think Josh Jacobs is going to be able to run, and I think Saquon's going to get his yards.
He ran well in week 1.
Yes, he did. So, I remember we gave away a jersey in week 1.
Yeah, no. I mean, Josh Jacobs ran well in week 1, especially in the second half. Yeah, here's Green Bay. Green Bay offensively averages about 230 yards a game passing, and they average 145 yards rushing. They're 7th in total, and the Eagles are 6th, but they're more balanced.
Right.
Green Bay. So, again, I think this game's going to come down on how well – these numbers here for the Eagles are insane on what a great year they had. First in total, 280. They were first in pass defense. How do you go like this, Zander, from second in pass defense, 22, to 31st in pass defense to first?
Yeah,
it's
crazy.
Insanity. That's insanity, man. And then they're 10th in rush defense at 104.4. They're 3rd in scoring, giving up only 18. They're 8th in red zone, and in third down, they're 7th. Here's Green Bay's numbers defensively. They're 8th in total defense. Not bad. It's a good number, top 10. Pass defense right here, it's not going to be a factor because I don't believe they're going to throw the ball. Or they're going to, if they do, this is going to play into Jalen Hurts having to carry the team. They give up 219 yards a game. They're 17th. Now rushing the ball, they're 6th. They're also 6th in scoring defense. So they keep the people out of the end zone here. Red zone, they're 8th in red zone, and they're 10th in third down. A pretty good defensive group, man, that has not had their quarterback. I think the quarterback's only
they're an underrated defense, Sills.
Yeah, they're
underrated defense. Yeah.
They're underrated. So I think Jalen's going to have to make some passes in this game. And for me, I think you're going to have to see something like 145 yards rushing. I think Jalen's going to have to put up 220 yards passing and maybe 2 TDs in this game for you guys to win this game. Or guess what? It's going to come down to final possession, and it's going to come down to what team has the ball in the fourth quarter. And my problem with Jake Elliott is, hey, dude, I don't know. I mean, I think right now on the concern meter, he's probably a 5 to me. Okay, he's probably a 5.
He's higher for me. I'd say 8.
Yeah, but in close, he's good. But the 50 plus, 45 plus.
He missed a 39-yarder yesterday.
I get it. I
mean, what are you talking about?
Hey, man, maybe he is higher than that. Maybe he is a 7.
5, I think, is way low. I mean, dude, you need when you roll out a kicker in the playoffs, you need you need him to make those kicks, dude. I know football players like to joke kickers aren't football players. Yeah, well, when you need a damn kicker, you need that motherfucker to put it through the uprights. All right, and I don't know if Jake's can do it. So the thing with Jake is, I think you can almost read on his face when he doesn't look confident, and if he's confident. He makes everything. He's one of those dudes that's uber talented. So in like a lot of different sports, John says he's like a great at golfer. He's great at like all these little things. And
most of those weirdo kickers are great at that.
Yeah, very coordinated.
Like hack and sack guys.
Yeah, exactly. So look, I think we need him, and my concern meter is much higher than a 5.
Absolutely, Elliot. Cold balls, too. I mean, Yale, cold balls.
Barry Boyd brings up the right point. He missed some extra points this year, dude.
Yeah, that's true, too, man. Yeah. You're right. You're absolutely right. All right,
Zander. This is his worst kicking percentage since 2020.
Wow.
Yeah,
you think they make a move in the offseason on him?
Maybe. I mean, maybe. How old is he?
Do you think that his postseason – do you think it dictates on whether or not they keep him and bring him back? Because he's one of the higher paid guys. They gave him a pretty good contract. I think he's a $3 million guy.
Yeah, he is. He'll be 30 in 2 weeks too. So I think they could move on from him. But you're right.
Kicker to Dicker.
Huh?
Or Dicker to Kicker. That guy out in Los Angeles with the Chargers. Dicker to Kicker.
Yeah, we got rid of him.
Yeah, I know you did. And now this guy's got a big contract in Los Angeles too. Yeah. All right, Z.
All right, brother. I got to go. I got some production to do.
Hey, bro. I got to tell you, man. This is single elimination. This is like the college basketball tournament here, man. Rent is due. Yeah. These are my favorite type of games here because you know why? Like you said, hey, you watch Big Sills come off the top rope just like I'm Hulk Hogan if that team gets whacked.
Yeah, right.
The opening round here, man. Hot take Broncos beat Bills. Thoughts?
No.
Not happening.
I'm giving you I'm giving
Sorry
you
about that, Leon. That ain't working. Zander, I love you, man.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Thanks, everybody.
All right, that's Zander Krause there. Make sure you do me a favor, guys. Hit that like button. Don't forget also our great friends at BetUS. Great time of the year. We got the college playoffs. We got the NFL playoffs right around the corner here. And please do me a favor. Make sure you log on to the website for the YouTube 150. Sign-up bonuses up to $2K. Your second and third are 125%. And if you're in the crypto, 200% as well. Do me a favor. Make sure you log on to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. Fastest payouts in the business, 24/7 personalized service, 365 days of the year. Live wagering on all major game. It is the home of Michael Vick. Make sure you check it out at betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. And do me a favor, tell them Big Sil sent you.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Ignite